Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I want to myth bust a few myths when it comes to watches. Some of them are entirely not true, and some of them, there's some truth to it, but people put too much importance on them. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my Gerard Perregaux Laureato Rose Gold on Alligator. Absolutely loving it, also known as my Miami douchebag watch, along with the Miami douchebag shirt. I'm full douchebag today. And also, guys, don't forget to check out Del Rey Watch. We're actually doing a watch giveaway. We're giving away a Tag Heuer Fragment limited edition with the in-house chronograph movement. I think at the time retail, this was with tax just under $9,000. And we will be giving it away June 1st. And you guys only have to do two things, super simple, to be entered. First, you just have to subscribe to this channel. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And then you go to delreywatch.com, a link in the description below. And on the front page, if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see something that says Get in Touch. Just enter your email there. We're not going to spam you, nothing like that. We send out like a newsletter every 6 to 8 weeks with our new inventory, but we will be picking away the winner of the giveaway June 1st from the channel subscriptions and the emails entered. So here's your chance to get an in-house chronograph movement with a column wheel in a limited edition model. Not many were made, absolutely for free. And all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and go to delreywatch.com, scroll all the way down to where it says Get in Touch and put your email there. No strings or purchases attached. The winner will be chosen at random, and we will shoot them an email and make an announcement once the watch is given away. But anyway, guys, let's get into the myths. This is in no particular order. The first one comes in regards to servicing a modular chronograph. A lot of people use the Omega Speedmaster Reduced as an example. Now, a modular chronograph is a normal movement with a chronograph module on top. Essentially, two movements sandwiched together. And a lot of people think they're expensive to service. Now, this is one of those myths where it's not true, but it's also not necessarily wrong. Let me explain. Chronographs are expensive to service, but generally a modular chronograph is no more expensive to service than an ETA 7750. Most times when watchmakers service the chronograph, they just service the movement that runs the timekeeping. They don't even service the chronograph module, right? The chronograph module very rarely needs to be serviced. And yes, in the very rare occasion, when I say rare, I mean in 7 years of Del Rey Watch, we've done it twice. In the very rare occasion it needs service, the module that is, it can be expensive, but 99.9% of the time, the Speedmaster Reduced costs the same to service as like a Longines with a 7750 or any other modular chronographs, right? So don't let this myth that, oh my God, it costs double because it's two movements. Half the time, the chronograph module is never serviced. So really, it costs the same as servicing a normal chronograph 99% of the time. So keep that in mind. A second one, which I actually thought was pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't seem to know, and that is you can swim with a watch without a screw-down crown. Now, screw-down crowns are a great feature, right? You screw the crown in, it makes the watch watertight. And it's necessary for a lot of watches with higher water resistance, like 300 meters, but you can have a lot of watches with 100 meter water resistance, which is perfectly fine to swim with no screw-down crown. They just have gaskets, right? You don't need a screw-down crown to make a watch like heavily water resistant. 100 meters water resistance, even 200 meters, I've seen without a screw-down crown, just with gaskets. So that myth that you need a screw-down crown to be able to swim with your watch is absolute baloney. Yes, most watches with high waterproof ratings have screw-down crowns, but it is not necessary. Read the case back of your watch to see the water resistance rating, whether it has a screw-down crown or not, and if it's 50 meters or better, Enjoy swimming with it. One of my favorites. Brands say this a lot. You need to get your watch serviced every 5 years. Baloney. This is definitely not true. This is a great way for brands to charge you money. Now, depending on how much you use the watch, how complicated the watch is, sure, you may need to service it every 5 years, maybe even a little less. But in most cases, on time-only movements, Rolex, ETA, I've seen watches that haven't been serviced in 10 to 12 years that still don't need service. And a lot of people say, well, you should preemptively service it so nothing breaks. Guys, if you're servicing a Rolex or an ETA and, a couple of teeth break on a gear, generally the cost to replace that part is $50 to $100. It'll cost you way less than servicing it every 5 years when you don't need to, than just replacing a normal part. Now, yeah, other watches, maybe an FP Journe, maybe a perpetual calendar, more rigid service schedules. But even then, every 5 years is just like, it's a guideline that doesn't make any sense. Put your watch on a time grapher, bring it to an AD, ask them to time graph it for you, check the amplitude. If the amplitude is low, service it. If the amplitude is not low, don't service it. There's no need to preemptively service something because you forget. Anytime you service it, someone has to open your watch, take everything apart. Things can go wrong during service. So you don't want to do it more than you need to. And with that in mind, every 5 years, in most cases, absolute bullshit. Oh, another one. Expensive watches are hard to service. Yeah, no. So let me give you an example. A Patek Calatrava is more expensive to service than like a Rolex Submariner. Yes, that is true. But is it harder to service? Not necessarily. They're both time-only movements. The reason the Patek cost more is, one, people can charge you more because Patek, but also, two, there's a risk when it comes to servicing. Every time our watchmaker opens up a watch, or a watchmaker in general opens up a watch, he takes a risk, right? If they break something in there, they're liable for it. Now, most of the time, or it almost never happens, but if we break something while servicing a Patek, we need to be able to buy that part, not charge you for it, and that has inherent risks. Hence, the service on a Patek costs more because there's more risk in servicing it and more opportunity for a watchmaker or us or an independent or an AD to lose money on it. But in itself, generally, not always, generally, expensive watches, unless they have much more complications, are no harder to service than a standard ETA, right? The how hard a watch is to service, you should look at how complicated it is. Does the movement have complications? Does it have a weird architecture? But if it's just time only, and one has nicer finishing, it's no harder to service. That being said, don't entrust your Patek with just anybody to service, because you want someone with a steady hand who won't break anything just in case it happens. But difficulty level, it's no harder to service than most any standard watch. Then last but not least, waiting lists. Are they real? This, I want to say it's baloney. They're not real, but it depends on the AD. But I'm willing to say, having worked in many ADs, most times they're bullshit. When somebody walks in, asks for the hard-to-get Rolex, and they'll say, we'll put you on the waiting list, most time, if you don't have a huge purchase history with them, that's just a nice way of saying, please get out of my store. They take your name, write it down, throw it in the garbage, you never get a call. Now, obviously, if you have a long purchase history, you've bought watches from them before, then there is a waiting list. But I'd say for 90% of people, the waiting list is just a nice way of saying, we're never gonna sell it to you. Now, obviously, there's going to be people in the comments saying, but Fed, I never bought anything and I got the new Kermit. Yeah, of course, it happens from time to time. This is a generalization. But in most ADs, you go in asking for the hard-to-get stuff and you've never bought anything from them before and they put your name on a waiting list, I can pretty much guarantee you're never going to hear from them ever again. unless the market drastically changes. But even most time, they don't keep your information on file. The sales associate will just throw it out. Don't get mad at me for saying it. I'm just telling you the truth because I've seen it done, and I know how it works. But anyway, those are 5 myths. Servicing a modular chronograph, swimming with a screw-down crown, servicing a watch every 5 years, expensive watches are harder to service, and are waiting lists real? 5 things that generally, in my opinion, are baloney, but some of them may have a little truth to them. I hope this might answer a few of your questions when it comes to watch collecting, and, I hope it helps. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can enter the giveaway, and visit Delray Watch. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.